I like to call those things like start, stop, and continue. Like, what do you need to start doing? What do you need to stop doing? And what you can continue to do.
How did you say, okay, well, we have money to start? What was like the first step that you took, knowing that you two were going to be the engine, you and Greg?
Well, originally, I know Greg and we were trying to raise more money. We had a certain set budget, but when we realized we squeezed the juice that we could possibly squeeze out of everybody that we knew, we had this smaller budget instead. But we went we were very detail oriented, and we did a preliminary budget ourselves. We knew a lot of like different indie producers, line producers, things like that. So we got a template and we went through. And Greg and I had done a lot of web series together in the past, so we have put together small budgets before. And so we gave ourselves a certain amount of days. We knew we wanted to spend a little bit of money to get somebody recognizable, like we have Ed Begley Jr. in our movie. And so we set a side budget for him and for Dot Marie Jones. And, we knew I had a casting director we could work with, Ricky Maslar. She liked the script and she was willing to help us get the script in front of some named talent that would be willing to sign on, and we could pay them later while we were raising money. And so that's what we did, though. We put that first budget together, and then we took trips. Well, we live in Los Angeles, so we just looked around Los Angeles for locations where we could shoot. And then when it was obvious we couldn't afford to shoot here, I had a friend who suggested maybe you shoot in Texas. I know an independent producer out there who could probably help you. We talked to him. He's like, yeah, if you come out here, I can help you with crew and cast. There's an infrastructure here in Dallas. You can come and I can connect you with. So Greg and I flew out to Dallas and we just started looking at different locations and met with people, and we're like, yeah, we can do it here. And then we started to find locations and get hard numbers on that, and we started cutting days and things like that. So we did work on the budget while we were casting at the same time. That's what we did. That's what we had done for our next step after we had raised our money.
And you factored in that you could edit the movie, which saved
Yeah, for $0, I could cut the movie, like no problem there. And I had a friend, a lot of it, what we called was beg, borrowing, or stealing. And so, I had a friend who I knew it's like if we gave him $1,500, he could be the assistant editor. So while we were shooting, we could be sending him the footage and he could be building the Avid project together. So when I got back from Texas, like the Avid project was built and we could like start editing. And then I had done the online process. Like after it's done, I could deliver the audio stems to the audio post house and then deliver the video online media decomposed sequence to the post house for color. And the funny thing is our colorist, he color graded the movie for free. In fact, he was an investor. He invested a little money into the movie, and then he was like, "I'm going to color grade the movie for no money." And so we used the facility where he worked, and we made it. They were very nice to us, and it was like, hey, if he's gonna color grade it for free, like we won't charge you for the space. But I was in there doing all the online tedious work and things like that. So that was part of the beg, borrowing, stealing. We knew that was going to happen. And our cinematographer, Derek Bauer, he loved the script. I met him through another movie that I was working on, and I told him about the script, and he read it, and he's like, I love this script, I want to do it. I'm like, great, I can't pay your rate. And he's like, great, what can you pay me? We can pay you this. Okay, I'll do it. And so just that's kind of what those next steps were, was just trying to find people who were willing to work with us for lower lower money, and but yeah, and that took, some of it took a lot of time, and other was like things just fell into place, you know, like it was just kismet. It was meant to be that these people wanted to work on the project, and that was a compass. Greg and I knew that the right people to work with on this movie for such a low budget were the people who wanted to work on it.
So far, what has making this film taught you? That if you go to your next project, you will make sure to either do more of or do less of?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff that I've learned. I like to call those things like start, stop, and continue. Like, what do you need to start doing? What do you need to stop doing? And what you can continue to do, based from project to project. I think the one thing that I really learned a lot from making Don't Tell Larry is you want to continue to keep finding some, like putting money aside to pay recognizable talent to be in your movie. Because I think the one thing is, like, once the movie was done, like when people can start recognizing people in your movie, it's easier to get people who want to distribute your movie. And that's a whole other thing, is finding the right distributor for your movie, because, I mean, in my opinion, that there's not a lot of distributors that are great to work with. I feel like we teamed up with a fantastic distributor, and I like our distributor very much so. But we talked to a lot of people where I was just like, no way we're giving these people our movie. There's no, I've worked way too hard to let these people release it. So, but what did I learn? I mean, a lot. I think the one thing I learned is don't be afraid to do the thing you want to do, and that it's always going to be risky. You're never going to feel comfortable doing it. And if you ever feel comfortable doing it, then you're doing something wrong. And so that's a great compass, that it's going to be challenging. There's always going to be challenging aspects. There's things I've also learned, like people I won't work with and people who I want to continue to work with. And then there's also, oh, we definitely need to hire somebody to work with to do this unique thing. You know, and I think a good example too is like making a movie, you always want an art director / production designer. You want somebody to help visualize your movie with like the props and help come up to, like, you know, a lot of times you're not building sets, but you're transforming sets. And I know a lot of time in the past, I've never did not have a lot of production designers or art directors. You would do that yourself. Like, oh yeah, I'll go get and Greg and I many times had go to Target because we got people's sides, and we're like, oh, here's a red shirt that they can wear, or here's the thing. Like, it's better to have somebody else that sees your vision, that's gonna help you make your vision come to life, come to into fruition. And because it's gonna be 10 times better to have someone like that. So you wanna like just have a budget for it and raise the money to do it, so you can have that person for it. Because especially for Don't Tell Larry, there was like a lot of little props and knickknacks and this and that's like set up here, build here to pay off later for people to keep track of and to help materialize. And there was no way Greg and I could have done that on our own. So it was like fantastic to have that production designer and / art director. If you have more money, you would have two separate, but a lot of times they wear the same hat. But it's, you know, independent film, like you're always wearing a lot of hats anyway.
I think just one last question here, and you've been, I don't know how you're doing it, because you're just, it's like you're just going.
You know, this is inspiring to me because I don't necessarily sit down and talk with people about this at all. I really don't. I feel like I've learned a lot through experience, and I feel like filmmaking is a practice. It's not like you've arrived and now you're the filmmaker and you know everything what to do. You don't. It's like being a doctor. Like they call doctors their practice, where they learn more about medicine and how people behave and how people get sick or whatever. They call it a practice. I feel it's the same thing as being a filmmaker. You're always learning and you're practicing. You learn new things. You try that and you learn from there. You're always learning as you're going. So in a way, this is making me think about things that I've learned, things that I would do, or things that I would, if I had any advice, tell to other people who are looking to get into this like wild, crazy business it's crazy to get into it, but it's nice to hear somebody give you some sense of like from their experience, because no one is ever going to have the same experience. You're not going to have the same experience as me, and I'm not going to have the same experience as somebody else. It's crazy. It's like it's that wide open of like what can happen to somebody here.
What makes it crazy?
What makes it crazy is that it costs a lot of money to make a film, and all these films don't seem to make a lot of money at all. It always seems like a handful of movies only make money, even though that's not true. I think a lot of low-budget films, I know a lot of people have made a lot of low-budget films that have made money, but it's crazy too because this business attracts so many egos as well. And it's like entertainment, and it's visual, and you have not just movie stars, there's other people who have egos as well, whether it's like composers or cinematographers or the boom guy, or, and you meet crazy people too. And it just attracts all sorts of crazy people. I'm only saying this because I'm crazy and I've been attracted to do this. So I have the license to say this. But it just attracts, accounting attracts accounting type people. Being a lawyer attracts lawyer type people. Entertainment attracts entertainment type of people who love attention. And there's nothing wrong with wanting attention, but it's just a lot of egos. And listen, I love all the people that I've worked with. I've had a really great time working with, especially for like Don't Tell Larry and Where the Wind Blows. Everybody's been like creatively really fantastic to work with, and I'll work with them again. Same DP, Derek Bauer, from Don't Tell Larry to Where the Wind Blows, same guy, and I would work with him again in the heartbeat. Jason and Nolan Livesey, they wrote the music, both movies. They're going to score the third one if they'll still work with me. So. Oh, I forgot the question.
No, you answered it. I just said what makes it crazy, and you gave me a wonderful answer.
And this is the other thing that makes it crazy too, because you have to show up on a day, like you have a scene, you show up and you're like, okay, we're gonna shoot scene 23, 47, 68, and 72 if we're lucky. And that is 12 pages, and there's all these things that go on, and all these things have to be linked up or in sync and be ready, and you got to rehearse, you got to block, you got to light, you got to rehearse, and then you shoot, and then you got to do it again, and you just repeat it. You do it over and over and over again. And it's just chaotic. And then if you're outside, whether it's raining or you got animals or you got children, it's unpredictable. You're wanting something specifically to happen in a script that is very predictable, but you are in an environment that is absolutely unpredictable, and you're trying to make the predictable happen. And that's just insane in itself, just as an idea, as a concept to do. So yeah, that's why it's crazy.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to make movies? Independent movies, maybe they want to work up to studio level, but right now they have many stories they want to tell at the independent level.
I would say just do it. I mean, just write the script and just make it and start. It's easy to get camera, shoot it on your iPhone and just cut it together and let it be, if you haven't done it before, do like a 5-minute story. Those are the hardest. And even now you have the opportunity with Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, you can make a little 2-minute, 4-minute funny short film that a lot of people can see. But just start doing it yourself, and then start meeting other people who have the same interest. Whether, you know, if somebody, somebody who's like making music, get them to maybe make music for the thing that you're doing. Or if you know someone who, has something unique or special that's interesting to you that you think could be a movie, team up with them and learn how to collaborate with other people. Because it's one thing, you can do it yourself, yes, but in order to be a filmmaker, you have to collaborate with so many different people. And so find like-minded people that have the same interest in you and the thing that you're doing right then and there that you're inspired by, and just go and do it. Don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.